Hello, my name is Robert Smith, and I'm with Academic Assistance at New River Community College. And today we are talking about naming acids and bases, specifically oxoacids and oxoanions, which is the base equivalent. So let's look at our first example, H2SO4. Well, this one's rather simple. Whenever you're looking at your oxoacids, you're looking for your table of parent acids, and you'll actually see H2SO4 on that parent table, and it's listed as sulfuric acid. And that is the name for this particular acid. It's a good illustration to show that it ends in IC. All the parent acids end in IC. If there was one more oxygen, if it had been H2SO5, it would have started with a PER. So it would be per, and in this case, sulfuric acid. So it would be per sulfuric acid. That's with an extra oxygen. If it had one less oxygen, H2SO3, it would have ended in an OUS. So instead of sulfuric acid, it would be sulfurous acid. And if it had two less oxygens, it would have started with a hypo, HYPO, the name of the acid, and would have ended in OUS, just like the previous one. So in this case, if it was H2SO2, it would have been hyposulfurous acid. But none of those rules really matter in this particular case, as this is a parent acid. And it's entitled sulfuric acid. Let's look at naming the oxoanion. HPO4 with a -2 charge. Let's look at some of the rules for oxoanions. If the acid ended in an IC, if it was a parent acid, then its oxoanion corresponding to it would end in ATE. So in our previous case where it was H2SO4, it would have been, because that is sulfuric acid, its corresponding oxoanion would have been dihydrogen sulfate. Dihydrogen indicating two hydrogens, which for H2SO4 there are two hydrogens, and then the ate takes the place of the ic. Similarly, acids that end in the OUS would have a corresponding anion that would end in an ITE. So for this particular piece, you'd have to look at the corresponding parent acid for this oxoanion. And upon doing so, you would find that it would be phosphoric acid. And in looking at that, you would be able to determine the name for this particular oxoanion. Edit. Looking at this, you'd be able to determine that the name for this particular oxoanion would be hydrogen phosphate. And that's all there is to naming oxoacids and oxoanions.